Bugs, super exotic dishes, bizarre galactic eats, Disney World is definitely not all nuggets and corn dogs. We've eaten some weird stuff, you guys. We're going to share all of it with you today on DFP Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Now sure, when many people think of Disney World, they think of tame theme park fare like hot dogs, popcorn, burgers, pizza, but there are some strange foods available to you if you know where to look. We've tried them all, so let's take a look at 13 of the weirdest foods we've eaten at Disney World. First up, those grasshoppers. Yes, friends, bugs are on the menu at Disney World. Known as chapulines in Spanish, grasshoppers are actually a popular snack in many parts of the world, and they're loaded with protein and surprisingly healthy as a snack. You can actually find dry roasted grasshoppers at a few locations in Disney World. Head over to Disney Springs to visit Rick Bayless's Frontera Cocina, and you'll currently find grasshoppers served up 2 ways as part of their seasonal Taste of Oaxaca menu. First up, enjoy your bugs as a chaser to a shot of mezcal. It's served up in a gourd cup you get to keep, and it comes with a slice of orange and some roasted grasshoppers as a chaser. If you want your bugs on food, try the guacamole with chile lime chapulines. This is just what it sounds like, guac with a healthy sprinkling of spicy, salty, crunchy grasshoppers on top. Over in Epcot, head to La Cava del Tequila in the Mexico Pavilion for your grasshopper fix. La Cava always uses unique and flavorful salts on their drinks, like hibiscus and tajin, but back in 2016, La Cava introduced a few more creepy crawly options, including grasshopper salt. Just like at Frontera, this salt is traditionally served with mezcal and an orange. Interested in trying a grasshopper, but not so much the drink that goes with it? Just ask your server. They're usually more than happy to offer up a few small roasted grasshoppers to those eager to taste them. Speaking of La Cava, let's talk about that black ant and mealworm salt. If grasshoppers aren't your thing, consider a drink featuring a few different creepy crawlies, black ants, or even worms. Now, the worm salt is made from mealworms, dried chilies, and salt. You know the worm in the bottom of the bottle of some mezcal? These are very similar to those. Ask your server for a taste of this salt with your drink. For the black ant salt, we're talking about the same little guys that crawl all over your food in summertime, only now they're crushed up with salt and sitting on the rim of your glass. The salt is actually a mix of dried chilies, crushed ants, salt, and sugar. The ants don't really impart much of a flavor, to be honest, but they are cool to look at. You will see little ant legs and bodies on your cup. Find the salt at La Cava on their top shelf Casa Dragones Margarita or the Minty Pineapple Marg, or just ask for a taste. Head back to Frontera and Disney Springs. You can find the black ant salt on their Frontera Viuda Negra Marg or the Piña Loca Margarita. Next up, some bone marrow. Our next menu item sounds mega gross, but tastes phenomenal. It's that bone marrow. Marrow is actually beloved by many for its smooth, silky texture and taste, but yeah, it's literally the insides of a bone. Get past the bone part, you're in for a treat. You can find marrow at a few higher-end locations in Disney World, like Takumi Te and Epcot. There you're going to find Nakomi Wagyu on the appetizer menu, and a large portion of beef bone is halved lengthwise, roasted, and topped with braised Wagyu short ribs. At Yachtsman Steakhouse at the Yacht Club Resort, you can add on a side of bone marrow to any meal. The roasted halved bone is served with green onion brioche for scooping up all that marrow. All right, let's head over to the Epcot festivals for these next couple. The Sushi Donut. This one sounds and looks weird, but it's actually pretty straightforward. You can pick up the Sushi Donut at the 2020 Epcot International Festival of the Arts, and it was at 2019 as well, by the way, at the Takumi Table booth in the Japan Pavilion. So basically, this one is really cool. A ring of sushi rice is covered in strips of salmon, tuna, shrimp, masago, and avocado. Think of it like a giant piece of sushi, but just in a donut form. This was a super colorful and fun option at the Festival of the Arts, and people really love it. If you're in the mood for your sushi tree-shaped this past holiday season at Epcot, you could pick up a chirashi sushi tree in Japan at the Festival of the Holidays. It was basically the same as the donut, but in the shape of a tree with a garland drizzle of spicy mayo on top. Also at the Japan Pavilion, we got to try that frothy ramen. Now you can find this at last year's Food and Wine Festival at the Japan booth, and who knows, it might come back again this year as well. This was a fun take on a style of ramen in Japan known as bubble tonkatsu ramen. Epcot's frothy ramen was basically a cup of cold ramen noodles in a cold fish broth called dashi, and it was topped with a mildly flavored foam. If you don't mind the idea of cold noodles and fish soup, the foam was a really unique and fun. And since most of the Food and Wine Festival takes place while the weather is still scalding hot in Florida, this was a welcome cool relief in the heat. But again, it's a love or hate. Also in Japan, those dried baby crabs. Continuing on our sampling of unique foods in the Japan Pavilion, there's no way around it. This next one is an acquired taste for sure. Head to the back of the Mitsukoshi department store in the very back of the Japan Pavilion, and you'll find varieties of Japanese candies, cookies, and yes, crabs. Yes, friends, you too can purchase a bag of tiny dried crabs to snack on as you stroll around World Showcase. These are called tamagogani crabs, and what you see is very much what you get here. Baby crabs dried with soy and mirin. You're meant to pop a whole crab in your mouth and eat it whole. They're crunchy, but not tooth-crackingly so, and pack an overwhelmingly fishy smell and taste. These are a fun, say you tried it, food, but who knows, maybe you'll find a new favorite snack in these guys. Next up, Swarendani. The Japan Pavilion's making our list yet again, this time with a cake made out of water. Like everything on the menu at Takumite, the plating of this dish itself is gorgeous, but this dessert is literally like biting into solid gel-like water. There's not much flavor, so you're going to want to scoop up the brown sugar syrup, soybean crumble, and sake-soaked rose petals to get a tasty bite. The water cake is also referred to as raindrop cake in Japan, and it literally dissolves into liquid water if it's not eaten within 20 minutes. Definitely one of the more interesting and I would say lighter desserts we've had in Disney World. Now, headed over to the Alligator. Of course, we're in Florida, and there's a lot of gator around, and Disney has started putting it on the menu. Gator is actually not a weird food to find on the menu depending on where you live, but in Disney World, it's a little more rare to come by. This past summer, Disney Springs offered Flavors of Florida, where restaurants around Disney Springs served up their takes on fresh Florida flavors. A couple of these locations were frying up gator. At T-Rex, you could pick up the Boom Boom Alligator Tacos. These were flour tortillas filled with fried alligator, tropical slaw, and a garlic sauce. But the gator we tried and actually really liked, over at Morimoto Asia, you could get orange gator in a waffle cone. This was exactly what it sounds like, a fresh made waffle cone filled with orange chicken, only instead of the chicken, it was freshly fried gator meat. Curious what gator tastes like? Think chicken, but slightly chewier. We also had some gator at a Epcot Food and Wine Festival event in the Japan Pavilion, so it all comes back to Japan. Alright, now this one's no longer at Disney World, so you're not going to get the chance to try this, but it was interesting to say the least. This is the salted licorice. And while it seems like you can't get this weird snack anymore, you used to be able to get salted licorice in the Norway Pavilion of Epcot. It's really popular in Scandinavian countries. Now this stuff isn't like red vines. It's black licorice, which already isn't a huge crowd pleaser, and on top of that, it's salty, like salt lick salty. Needless to say, it's a bit of an acquired taste and definitely unexpected when it's next to school bread and troll horns. But again, super popular in Scandinavia, so we're kind of sad that they don't have it anymore. Alright, now it's time to head over to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge to talk about some more weird foods available at SWGE. First up, the Happabore Sampler. Now, we love a good charcuterie plate here at DFB, so when we stumbled on the initially secret menu cheese and meat plate at Oga's Cantina, we had to try it. What we got, though, was not as appetizing as what we'd hoped. We were faced with a jumbled platter of Bresaola air-cured beef, roasted Spam, roasted mortadella, and roasted chorizo sausage. Mixed in was pulled string cheese, again not kidding, and burrata cheese sprinkled with black salt. Some roasted veggies rounded out the plate. The individual components here are not that bad. I get that they're not that weird, but together on the plate, it's a sight to behold and a bit overwhelming to take in. When's the last time you were served pre-pulled string cheese and Spam together in a Disney World bar? It's a very weird combo. Now, the charcuterie has seen a bit of a redesign in its plating and found more permanent spot on the menu, and since this is pretty much the only thing you can eat at Oga's besides a couple of little tiny snack items, I guess if you really need food, go for it, but it's very expensive, and when you're talking about string cheese and Spam, it's not really worth the money. Also at Oga's, let's talk about that fuzzy tauntaun. If I had to pick an Oga's Cantina drink to wash down that Happabore Sampler, it would certainly be the fuzzy tauntaun. This drink is like nothing you've ever tried, I promise. Maybe some of you have, but a lot of you haven't. This is Ciroc peach vodka, Bull's peach schnapps, and orange tangerine juice. The drink is really sweet. It's basically a fuzzy navel, but what makes it a knockout is that buzz button foam on top. Our server told us this foam is extracted from the tooth of a rancor, but wherever it comes from, you're in for a shock when you try it. Your mouth's gonna go numb for a few minutes. The sensation is super odd, ranging from tingly numb to cold to almost an electric feel in your mouth. It wears off quickly, and it's well worth getting this drink just to experience the foam. But what causes that sensation for real? Yeah, it's not the tooth of a rancor, it's buzz buttons. These are edible flower buds, also called Szechuan buttons or electric buttons. And you can actually just buy them on Amazon if you're interested in making your own fuzzy tauntaun at home. All right, the blue and green milk also in Galaxy's Edge. All right, Galaxy's Edge is loaded with unique drinks, but none are quite as well known as that famous blue and green milk from the Star Wars films. Before the land opened, we were dying to know what it would taste like and how they could possibly make a milky drink that guests would actually want to drink in the hot summer months. The milks seem to be some of the most loved or hated items in Batuu, though. Blue and green milk are actually both non-dairy, soft, frozen, and made from coconut and rice milks. If you've ever tasted those milks, you already have a good idea of the taste and mouthfeel of the milks. The flavors sound intriguing, but tend to taste a little flat for most guests. Blue milk is supposedly dragon fruit, pineapple, lime, and watermelon, but no one flavor shines through. The result is kind of a mildly floral flavor. And green milk, on the other hand, is described as mandarin orange, passion fruit, grapefruit, and orange blossom, but to me it's kind of like perfume. So I wasn't blown away by the milks. A lot of our reviewers weren't blown away by the milks. The plant-based milk base makes for a unique texture, and we had a hard time fully enjoying it, but a lot of people do love these. So if you want to make it look even cooler, by the way, try our hack and ask for another cup so you can make your own layered blue and green milk. Cast members won't layer the drink for you as they pour it, so you'll have to DIY this one. Plus, if you don't go and try the milk, did you really even go to Galaxy's Edge? And coming soon to the milk stand, green milk bread pudding. We haven't gotten a chance to try this one yet, but we bet it'll make its way onto this list. And back to Oga's Cantina to talk about the Oga's provisions. These are basically Jell-O shots, kind of, I think. So if you've still got room after that Happabore Sampler, Oga's offers 2 provisions, quote unquote, on the menu. Oga's Obsession is basically green Jell-O in a petri dish. It's made with Odwalla lemonade, cotton candy flavoring, and popping boba pearls, and topped with Pop Rocks. It's weird, but in a super fun way. And for the 21 plus crowd, you can get your provision served up with a bit of booze. The Rhodian Rations is made with Tito's vodka, pucker sour apple, green apple flavoring, Sprite, boba, popping pearls, and Pop Rocks. It's a big old Jell-O shot. For what both of these snacks are, they're rather pricey at $7.50 for the non-alcoholic and $13.50 for the one with alcohol, but the novelty is fun for sure. So if you look past the average theme park fare, you can find some wild foods at Disney World. And if you're like us, you can go in with an open mind, an empty stomach, and you might find a few of the next unique favorites for you along the way. Thanks for traveling with us down this weird road of food. This is some of the weirdest stuff we've eaten in Disney World. We want to hear about yours. Let us know in the comments what crazy stuff you've had at Disney World. We can't wait to go and try it. Thanks again for listening, you guys. Thanks for watching. This is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.